Mhm. Hey, hey, we're live. Just checking in the Facebook group if it's showing up there too. Not yet. Give me a second. Copy link. There we go. Alrighty, going live on Instagram as well. We're live today to speak about a very big problem. Very big problem. Let me just turn off WhatsApp. A very big problem. And the problem is the fear of speaking English, right? The fear of speaking English. Maybe you feel very embarrassed about your accent, or you judge that people, sorry, you fear that people judge your mistakes. Yeah, when you speak in English and you make a lot of mistakes, it can be that you think that people think that you're less intelligent or not very smart because you have to think about your words. So the fear of speaking in English in public to a group of people, or even just one-to-one with one person, it can be really annoying. It can be really annoying and hold you back from pursuing your career dreams, teaching yoga internationally. Just checking in with you. Can you all hear me? And can you all see me all right? Can you hear and see me all right? Let me just check in the Facebook group. Yeah, and see me all right. Okay, Facebook is all right. Instagram, I can't check, but please write in the comments if you can hear and see me. I see that the captions, the subtitles on Facebook even are there. So perfect. Overcoming the fear of speaking in English. Yeah, it's a common obstacle. There's a lot of language learners that deal with this problem because speaking in a foreign language, speaking in a language that's not your own, can make you feel really uncomfortable with yourself. Yeah. Like I said, you may doubt that you don't know the right words or that you know enough words, or you fear that people judge you on your accent and your pronunciation or your sentence structure. Yeah. Or you feel bad. This is also very common. You feel bad that because you speak a little bit slower, people have to wait for you and get impatient. That's a fear because it's not true, really not true. But I'm going to speak about that. Or maybe you're afraid that you sound childish. Yeah, that maybe you sound a little bit less intelligent. I know how it feels because I've experienced all of this too, and a lot as well. Learning to speak English, learning to speak Spanish, learning to speak Portuguese. I still am experiencing this, learning to speak Portuguese, because I'm not very fluent, and it's normal. It's normal whenever you learn a new language, and it probably comes back every time as well, that you learn a new language, another one. Now, my most recent experience with this is learning Portuguese. But I remember really well when I was learning to speak Spanish. I met my previous partner, my previous boyfriend, when I started learning Spanish. And coincidentally, he was a Spanish speaker. All throughout our relationship, I was so shy, so embarrassed, and so doubtful of speaking with him in Spanish that I sounded dumb, or I sounded weird, or I would say the wrong thing all the time. And I was very perfectionistic. Yeah, I wanted first to learn to speak fluently, accurately, and perfectly before speaking to him in Spanish. He spoke English as well. And 5 years later, we never really spoke Spanish. We spoke English the whole time through. And it was a very big mistake because even in my Spanish classes, I would only say something when I was entirely sure it was the right thing. And that wasn't very often. So I really neglected all the chances that I had to speak in my relationship, in my classes, with friends that I learned or that I got to know. It was really, really a big mistake. Even though I could understand everything and almost, I would say 90% of them, what they said perfectly, I still let the fear of sounding different and making mistakes stop me from expressing myself. And it was a huge mistake because it extremely delayed my skill and the ability to learn how to speak as well. I'm really sorry for the background noise. There is a truck outside and it's making a lot of noise. I hope it's going to leave in a moment, so bear with me. I learned how to overcome this mistake by a very drastic move. I moved to Mexico and I forced myself to be surrounded with only Spanish speakers. So I didn't have an option anymore. I had no choice but to speak Spanish. And this drastic move for some can help you overcome it. Absolutely. Learning, moving abroad, moving to a different country and surrounding yourself with people that speak the language that you want to learn can be an option. And I think it's actually a really great option because you have no choice. But it's not always possible, right? Maybe you've got other responsibilities that keep you in the country that you live right now. Maybe it's another job, maybe it's your family. There's a lot of different reasons why moving abroad is not always an option. And I don't think it's necessary. I really don't think it's necessary to learn how to speak English, to feel comfortable, capable, fluent, and even yourself learning or speaking English. I don't think it's necessary to move abroad, to make such a drastic move. So let's dive in and find out how you can overcome the fear of speaking in English, feel comfortable, feel capable, be fluent, and even feel yourself. Let's start with the problems that cause this, because it can be that in your first language, in your own language, you also fear speaking in public, or that you fear speaking in front of a group of people. And this could be because, number one, you're uncomfortable with yourself. Maybe you're uncomfortable with being seen or being heard by others. It could be caused by a bad or a negative experience in the past. Maybe you've had a teacher that always corrected you and then by that made you feel incapable. Or maybe you had classmates that laughed at you in school. Lots of different reasons why. But if you only experience this fear in a foreign language, specifically when you learn to speak English, it's more likely that there are different causes. Number one is that you believe your English skills are not good enough. You doubt your grammar, you doubt your vocabulary, and you doubt your pronunciation skills. My English skills are not good enough, so I will not speak in English. Big mistake, right? But I will help you overcome that. But let's become aware of why it is that we fear speaking in English. So number one, I fear my English isn't good enough. Number two, you are a perfectionistic, like me, like I used to be. Yeah, maybe you overthink what you want to say because you want it to sound perfect, or you want your sentence structures to be correct, accurate. The amount of times that I sent voice notes through WhatsApp, for example, yesterday I sent a voice note to a friend of mine in Spain, and I recorded the voice note 5 times. It took me 20 minutes to send a 2-minute voice note because I mispronounced the word and I felt bad about it and I wanted it to sound correct, and I re-recorded until I felt like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to send it right now. I still wasn't happy with it, but I was not going to spend more time re-recording the message to make it sound perfect. Yeah, because it's ridiculous, really. No one on this whole wide world expects you to sound perfect, to speak perfectly. Yeah, the only person that expects that of you is you. You're the only one that has such high standards. Most people, they don't even hear, or they don't even notice when you make a mistake or when you say something incorrectly. Yeah, I understand that the audio is not a good very here. I'm currently traveling and I couldn't take the microphone with me. So I hope on Facebook that the audio is a little bit better, because we're live on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. But thank you for pointing that out, Paula. Right, so perfectionism. Perfectionism is a big problem. It can also be that your communication skills in your first language or in another language that you dominate are very developed. Yeah, that means that your communication and your language skills in your first language or another language that you speak are really good. And that means that if you speak in a foreign language or a language that you're learning, that you can't express yourself the way you truly want to, or that you feel that you can't express yourself the way you want to, because you don't know in the same amount of words or the same amount of idioms or expressions, phrasal verbs as well as we have them in English. And this makes you think that when you speak in English, you lose the essence of your personality. But I will tell you a secret, because even this I know for a fact is not true. At the moment, I have got a student from Belgium, and her knowledge of English is less broad than the most people in our courses right now. Yeah. So in class, she's constantly comparing herself to others, and she struggles to find the right words. Sometimes she needs a little bit more time to think about what she wants to say. But when she speaks, the words she uses are extremely poetic and lyrical. It's like she's telling a story, a storyteller. Yeah. And just by the few the less common words that she uses in English, I can tell that she's very spiritual, she's very thoughtful, very intellectual, very intelligent. Sometimes it's not just the words that help you express yourself, or the words that help you express yourself what you really want to, but it's also the tone of voice and the way that you say it, the energy that you bring with it. Yeah. So whatever makes you fear speaking English, embarrassment, shame, shyness, the fear of people judging you, your words, your accent, pronunciation, or the fear that people think you're different or less intelligent, all of these fears, they live inside your head. All of these fears are inside your head. They are with you and they come from you. The worst thing is, if you do not do the work to overcome them, they cause you to hold back, and they cause you to postpone whatever your goal of speaking English is. And for most people, you are here because you want to teach yoga internationally. And it means that if you don't overcome these fears of speaking in English, you delay your international career, right? If you don't learn to speak in English, or if you don't practice and overcome the fear of speaking in English, you will postpone looking for jobs. You will decline collaborations with people that don't speak your language. You will keep saying no to teaching internationally. Maybe there's a job as a retreat host or being a yoga teacher at a retreat that you're offered, and you say no because you think that your English is not good enough. Yeah, all of these things, overcoming the fear of teaching yoga or feeling less nervous when teaching yoga. I will speak about that next week. I'll be back to speak about that specific topic next week. But today, I'm really going to focus on overcoming the fear of speaking English. So, lots of different reasons why, and lots of different fears that you can check in with yourself. To overcome it, number one, first, we need to acknowledge and accept 3 things. Acknowledge and accept 3 things. Number one, mistakes are inevitable. Yeah, mistakes are necessary. And I actually encourage you to make mistakes because they are necessary to improve and get better. When you make mistakes, you understand and you realize what's wrong or what could be expressed differently. Mistakes really are learning opportunities. They are not failures. They are not defining what you are or what you are capable of. Yeah, they don't say anything. Ooh, we're reconnecting to the internet. They don't say anything about how smart and intelligent you are, but they really are part of your learning process. So mistakes are inevitable. They are important. They are part of learning, and they are amazing learning opportunities to improve yourself, not failures. The more you practice and the more mistakes you make, the more fluent and smoother you will become. The biggest mistake really is not making mistakes, because that means you don't practice. It's impossible that when you practice, you don't make mistakes. So if you, the biggest mistake is not making mistakes, because it means you're not practicing. Remember that a foreign accent adds authenticity to your classes too. And I'm just going to check the audio again, because on Instagram, there's a lot of people going in and out, and I fear it has to do with the internet. Okay, Facebook it's working. On Facebook, can you please give me a comment and see or tell me if the audio is all right? Overcoming the fear of speaking in English. My side it is, so it'd be good to hear from you too. Alrighty. So, the next thing that you want to acknowledge and accept is that we want to remember that a foreign accent adds authenticity to your classes. It makes you stand out, and it's usually the thing that your students absolutely love about you. It's something exotic, it's unique to you, and some students intentionally choose a teacher with a foreign accent because they say it relaxes them. Yeah, or it makes them feel inspired. So a foreign accent really is nothing to feel shy about or embarrassed by. An accent is really something that shows a lot about your characteristics and your personality. Most non-native English speakers do not even speak a foreign language. Yeah, most native English speakers, they do not speak a foreign language. So they are very impressed with your ability to speak their language and the effort that you make to learn their language, the effort that you make to help to communicate with them. Yeah, linking to this as well, I'd love for you to shift your mindset. Like I said, most native English speakers don't speak another language. They are extremely impressed by your efforts. In my experience, people also are very patient and really willing to help. They enjoy conversing with you and helping you improve. They don't expect you to be perfect. And instead, they enjoy helping you to find the right words and maybe even teach you new words and expressions. So shift your mindsets by thinking of all the things that I just shared with you and visualize a positive or more realistic outcome. What would you do if you hear someone learning your language? Would you judge them? Or would you get impatient? Would you think that that sounds ridiculous? Or would you encourage them and help them and maybe give them new synonyms of words, for example, right? Think of it the other way around. What would you do if someone doesn't speak your language as a first language? Right, so these are a few mindset shifts, and probably it's just about turning around and really putting yourself on the opposite side of everything. And remembering foreign accent is a sign of bravery. Really, really, really adds authenticity to your classes. The biggest mistake is not making mistakes, because it means that you're not practicing. Solutions though, because we always want to have solutions to these things, right? I've got 1, 2, 3 or 4 solutions for you. Things that you can apply today, practice straight away to overcome the fear of speaking in English. The very first thing that can help you to feel more comfortable is to prepare yourself for situations when you don't know a word, or that you fear forgetting a word or expression. Yeah, the very first thing, prepare yourself with phrases to express, I don't know, right? I don't know the word, or can you help me find the words? Or maybe ways of describing something, ways for someone to repeat themselves, ways for someone to help you think of a word. Only being prepared with phrases to express that you don't know, or that you would like help, or that you would like someone to repeat what they said more slowly, for example. Only having these types of phrases prepared will already give you a lot more confidence to start a conversation, or to keep the conversation going, to not avoid them any longer. Yeah, because if you can ask how to say something, or ask for what a word means, will give you a lot more confidence to actually get out there already. The second solution is practice. And all skills in the world, practicing yoga, performing a wheel pose, becoming a hairdresser, I don't know, any type of skill that you have ever developed in your life required practice. And that's the same with learning to speak, right? I mean, all skills. No one in the whole wide world was born speaking a language. Children or babies, toddlers, we've all learned to speak through practice, through making mistakes as well. And you might have heard the phrase, practice makes perfect. Yeah. I no longer think it's necessary to aim for perfection. I don't think we need to sound perfect. I just explained why. Because even in your first language as well, you will make mistakes from time to time. But what I do want you to do, or do want you to feel, is confident and fluent. And to become confident and fluent, you need practice. So I like to rephrase, practice makes perfect, to practice to gain confidence and fluency. And practicing, you can do in many different ways. You can find speaking groups, language exchanges or tandems, group conversation classes. You can maybe speak with friends in another language, organize your own meetups, be part of a community, go to a teacher, obviously a teacher or a coach, someone that can help you. But we need to speak. Ongoing. Then the other solution number 3, is to take your time to speak. What do I mean with that? Take your time to speak means that you're not trying to speak super fast or speak everything and everything that you want to say in one. Yeah? Take your time to speak. When you speak, number 1, there's a lot of different benefits, but when you speak slowly, for the receiver, the person that you're in conversation with, it's easier to follow you and understand what you say. Yeah. Speaking very fast, on the other hand, can make the receiver feel overwhelmed, right? There's like, whoa, what are they telling me? There's a lot of information in a very short period of time. So, and it makes it more challenging to keep up with the conversation for them. So speak calmly, and others will be able to follow you and understand you with ease. Now, for you, when you speak slowly, you are able to buy time. What does buy time means? It means that you have a little bit more time to think about what you say. Think about what you say while you're taking your time to speak. And that's absolutely fine, because this way you avoid panic. Yeah, you avoid rambling, speaking about a lot of things that you actually don't want to say, or maybe that you don't mean. You also avoid over communicating or oversharing. Yeah, and this way, speaking calmly, buying time, taking a breath in between your sentences, pause for a comma of a sentence, yeah, it means that you can keep your communication valid, easy to understand for the receiver, relevant as well, and to the point. You're actually making sense to yourself and to the people that you're speaking with. The other thing, number 4, solution number 4, is a technique, and it's a practice technique. Record yourself or speak to yourself in front of a mirror. There's 2 different ways. You can record yourself on your phone, for example. Just listen to the audio and become comfortable with hearing yourself. Listen to it in a critical way to make improvements if you want to, not to judge yourself, just to improve. But in front of the mirror, you can do the same. Watch yourself when you're speaking to see your tongue and your mouth move. And maybe you've learned techniques before that help you improve it as well for pronunciation. And it's a technique that a lot of actors or singers use to improve their speech, their intonation, maybe to help them identify with the role that they have to play in a musical or in a film, for example. But looking at yourself or hearing yourself speak will slowly get you more comfortable with seeing and hearing yourself speak as well. Yeah. So every mistake you make in this journey, especially when you're listening to yourself and you're like, oh, I made a mistake, how can I improve it? It's a learning opportunity, everyone. It's not to judge yourself. Remember that. So, to summarize, the causes of fearing to speak in English can be there's lots of them, but very common ones are uncomfortable being seen and being heard by others. Yeah, bad or negative experiences in the past. Maybe you fear or you think or you believe that your English is not good enough. Maybe you're perfectionistic. Maybe you think that you lose the essence of your personality because you don't have the same amount of words or idioms or expressions. And in other languages, your communication skills are very developed. So you feel like you're not entirely yourself speaking in English. So those can be causes. Now reframe your mindset or your thoughts around this. No one but you, no one but yourself expects you to sound and speak perfectly. Yeah, you can't, even if you can't express yourself the way you truly want to, no one expects it of you. And remember that most native English speakers do not speak any other languages, and they are extremely impressed by your ability to only say a few words in English. Yeah. Again, as well, it's not always about the words that you use to express yourself, but also your tone of voice and the way you say it. The way you say it. Remember, a foreign accent is authenticity. It adds authenticity to your classes, and it's a sign of bravery. And if you don't learn to overcome the fear, if you don't get yourself out there and practice, all of this causes you to hold back, to postpone, to delay your progress, and eventually, for most people here, to pursue your international yoga teaching career. So it's necessary to do the work, get out there and practice. The solutions I gave you to summarize: number 1, prepare yourself with phrases that can help you at the moment that you don't know what to say or that you forget a word. Yeah, I don't know. Can you help me? Can you repeat that? How do you say X, Y, Z? Prepare yourself with phrases like these. Remember, all skills require practice. They require practice. Speaking, writing, listening, and reading. And speaking skills you can do with people that you know, community groups on Facebook or Instagram. You can go to meetups or language exchanges in the cities that you live. Lots of different opportunities, but practice speaking with others. Then when you practice, take the time to speak. Take your time to speak and breathe in between sentences, pause in between sentences for the person that you're speaking to, finding it easier to understand and follow you, and for you to avoid panic and oversharing, over-communicating, or saying things that you actually didn't mean or wanted to. And the last thing is another type of practice, but practice in front of a mirror. Watch yourself while you're speaking. Get comfortable with yourself speaking, or record yourself and listen to it. And when you listen to it, not to judge yourself, but to be curious, be critical, to find improvements, things that you can improve. Yeah? All right. I hope that this helped you. I hope that all of this has been useful for you. If you have questions, everyone, write them in the comments. Write them in the comments on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm just going to double check on Instagram already if we have any comments. But I would love to hear from you if this has been useful and or if you have questions about anything. Let me just check. No, not on the Facebook page, maybe in the group. And I almost forgot, but I would like to remind you that next week, the 28th of June, on my birthday, we are launching the Teach Yoga in English course bundle. And in the bundle, I obviously help you overcome the fear of speaking in English. I will teach you also what it really takes to teach yoga in English, how to find your voice and express yourself authentically. And the best thing is you learn all the words that you need to teach yoga classes in English, but also communicate with your students and speak about yogic topics. So the bundle will be available. Enrollment opens on the 28th of June. And for the first 2 weeks, you get $95 off because I'm feeling generous because it's my birthday and because it's the first time we launch it as a bundle. So I want to give you something extra and give you a little bit of a discount on it. So Teach Yoga and English course bundle, 4 different courses. What it takes to teach yoga in English, find your voice, learn all the vocabulary that you need, and you can complete everything in your own time. It's entirely self-paced, but I'm always here for you if you have questions, need support, or if you would like to have feedback on your progress. All right, so check it out. You can find the link in my bio and on the Facebook page and in the Facebook group. If you sign up to the waitlist, you receive $95 off. And like I said, enrollment opens next week on the 28th of June. Alrighty, next week I'll be back again as well for our weekly live training, and I will speak about how to feel less nervous when you teach yoga. And that can be teaching yoga one-on-one, teaching yoga to a group of people, teaching to people that you know, or teaching to people that you've never seen before on a retreat. Whenever you feel nervous, I'm going to help you overcome all the fears to do with feeling uncomfortable or a little bit scared or afraid when you want to teach yoga to people. Alrighty, I hope to see you there. I hope this has been useful as well. Send me a message if you have questions about anything. And in the meantime, sign up to the wait list for the Teach Yoga and English course bundle, because if you sign up, you get $95 off. Yeah, it's a really great deal. Any questions? I'm here for you, and I wish you all a really amazing rest of your day. And I hope to see all of you again next week for our weekly live training. And that time is about how to overcome or how to feel less nervous teaching yoga. I will see you then. Mwah. Goodbye, everyone.